I'm Tom Sands, writer and director of the short film The Right Stuff. Illiteracy is not just an American problem. People all over the world, including the UK, are unable to read and write. If we work together, this is something that we can change forever. So join Cyrus Webb, me, and The Right Stuff in doing your part to raise awareness about this issue. To find out more, go to www.therightstufftv.com, and to find out more about me, go to vimeo.com/tomsands or email me at substantialfilms@gmail.com.
Marketing can be pivotal for authors. A lot of times, if they don't have the right marketing, you will never even know their book exists. That's why it's important to build buzz. An author that definitely got my attention almost 5 years ago was best-selling author Emanuel Rosen. He wrote a book called The Anatomy of Buzz, where he looked at exactly what does it take to make word-of-mouth marketing work. This year, he re-released that book, and it's called The Anatomy of Buzz Revisited. In that book, he shares some additional tips as to how authors can be a success. I recently caught up with Emanuel to talk a little bit about the book and the power of buzz. Here's a little part of our conversation. I have been looking forward to this interview because when I read a book and it makes such an impact on me and I can see where the success comes from, I can see the things that you've listed in the book and have helped people all over the world to realize. I can see it working in my life. I'm very privileged to be able to tell you thank you because you have really made a difference in our organization and the way we've been able to grow, and it's because of the tips that you've given in your book. So first of all, I want to say thank you on behalf of all of us.
Oh, it's wonderful to hear. That's really the best thing to hear for an author, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and for our listeners who may not be familiar with the book, Emanuel, and may not be familiar with you, why don't we go back to the beginning? Tell them a little bit about who Emanuel Rosen is.
Well, I'm originally from Israel. I was a copywriter in the advertising business there for a few years, and then I came to the U.S. in the 80s and joined a startup company after I got my MBA here. And see, in my mind back then, marketing was all around advertising. I thought that, once people see ads, they buy stuff. But my experience with that startup company was a little different. I noticed that actually most of our customers, between 40 and 60% to be more accurate, told us that they heard about us first, not from advertising, not from a review that they read in a magazine of our software, but from another person. So I became interested in the phenomena of word of mouth and how information spreads among customers. And then I wrote that book back in 1999, was published in 2000, called The Anatomy of Buzz. And as you mentioned, I just released a new edition, which is called The Anatomy of Buzz Revisited, because I was really interested in how, in reality, information spreads among consumers.
Mm. And the tips that you give, and I'll say it again, they are so practical. But if it was not for a book like yours, it's probably things that we would not even think about. But I think the basic thing, Emanuel, and you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, the thing that you seem to drive home the most in the book is how much customers drive sales by their experiences. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think customers really, at least in many industries, customers really drive sales. But I think one of the things that I'm trying to emphasize, at least in this book, is that you don't want to stop there, because people, if they're delighted with your product, with your service, they'll tell others. But after a while, they stop. They forget about your service, or they run out of opportunities to talk. So a lot of what I'm talking about and other people are talking about in word-of-mouth marketing is about triggering your happy customers or all of your customers to spread more word of mouth. So it's not enough to have a great product or a great service. You also want to do things to stimulate additional talk.